The ranking. Upon registering, all users follow a generic set of topics. This allows us to immediately generate a feed with popular content. What happens next is where the magic begins. Our ranking algorithm is based roughly on the following factors. Popularity. This includes the amount of likes, comments, shares, saves, tips, ignores, and post-related actions made on each post. Each of these is only counted once for each user. So for example, whether someone comments once or 10 times on a post, the popularity increased by the same amount. Obviously, in order to undo the popularity boost given by a comment, a user has to delete all his comments from that post. For tips, we take into account the number of individual users who tipped, as well as the average amount of flames tipped. Post ignores. An ignore is registered each time a post appears in the feed and the user doesn't interact with it in any form. The penalty given by an ignore is small enough so as not to outcompete the positive actions made on a post, but large enough to penalize bad posts with a lower engagement ratio. Post-related actions. We also track other kinds of post engagements, which can either be non-primary types of interactions or interactions that depend on the post type. These include comment likes, link clicks, video plays, and lightbox opens when the user opens the post in full screen. View time. We recognize that some users do not interact with any posts and instead they prefer to just browse and consume content from our website, and this is fine. For this reason, we track the amount of time that users spend on each post, and we break this metric down by post type. For example, it's normal for users to spend more time on a video than on a picture, so we take that into account. We also take into account that each user has a different browsing pattern, which can also change over time. For example, some users scroll faster than others. Some users play all videos while others hit the play button. Some users watch GIFs multiple times while others barely watch them once. Affinity. Besides keeping track of the amount of interactions of each specific post, we also keep track of the history of engagement between the user and the person who posted the content. Each time you interact with a post or ignore it, the affinity between you and the original poster gets updated. The affinity between users is influenced by the same factors that make up the post popularity, as well as by following or favoriting the user. The affinity is where your specific preferences are enforced, and this allows us to customize the feed to your needs. Thanks to our affinity system, 100 users who follow the same topics and people have 100 different tailored feeds. If a user has a significant negative affinity with another user, they are unlikely to see posts no matter how popular these are. You can see how, besides allowing personalized feeds, affinity also acts as a spam limiter. Conversely, if you favored a user and have a high engagement rate with their post, you're likely to see their content even if it hasn't gathered a lot of engagement from the network. Some social networks decrease the reach of users who post too much, but our affinity system cuts both ways when it comes to users who post very often, users who post very often yet have a high engagement rate, increase their affinities with content consumers, and this gives them an edge over users who post less often. On the other hand, users who post bad content very quickly have their affinities decrease and have a hard time competing with other content posters.